Infatuation. That is what I'm going to talk about today. When you are really stuck on someone, you're thinking about that person. Even when you're with other people, you're thinking about that person. You can't get them out of your mind. Okay, a couple of people have been talking to me about this over the past few days, and so I'm going to do a little video about how I see this issue and something about how to deal with it as well. So the first thing to understand about infatuation is a concept called projection. Projection. Okay. Projection is a psychological term, and that is when you find emotions and beliefs and states that are actually inside you and you see them in other people. Okay? You see them in other people. Here's how I'll explain that. Just imagine that you had a person. Let's draw them like this. Imagine a person and you're telling them about something. You want to tell them about a car. Okay? What if this person had never seen a car before? What if they were from the Amazon jungle or something like that and they had no idea what a car is? How would you talk to them about it? You'd have to break it right down. You have to break it down into concepts that they do understand so that you can explain to them what a car is. But what if you're talking about projection to you, a car to your mate, your friend? He's a little bit bigger, obviously. See, if you want to explain a concept to another person, you can only do that in terms of shared concepts. So if in here we have a little car, and this person also has a car, then we can communicate. Okay? We can communicate. We can communicate about the idea that we share. This guy understands what a car is, whoop, and that guy understands what a car is, so they can communicate about their shared ideas. And that's how all communication works. Okay, I couldn't explain something to you that you don't have some basis to understand from first. The parts that you understand already, we can build on them together, and then I can communicate something new to you. Okay, that's really basic. That's how it works. So now, when we have an emotion or a belief, a motivation inside of us, we can only see that same motivation or belief or emotion in other people. We can't actually see their true motivation or emotion. We can only see a comparison with what we have. Just like the same with the idea of the car. Okay, if a person grows up in a family that's got a lot of anger as a child, they will often feel angry because they were given this anger. They absorbed it as a child. But they will tend to see other people as angry. So let's say we've got lots of anger. I'm going to draw that as a spiky star. That's anger. And the anger is inside of them. But they will tend to walk around and see anger in everyone. You're angry too. You're angry too. You're angry too. But actually it's them. They're feeling their own anger. This is called projection. You may have seen people do this type of thing sometimes. Say, you're angry. Why are you so upset? But you're not. And you're like, huh? That's weird. I'm not upset. That's you. That's your shit, eh? That's projection. Now, projection also works with positive characteristics. Okay, let's say if you're full of love and you see other people and you see the love in them, what you're seeing is your own love, your own capacity to be loved, to be loving and to be kind. This is why I'm always banging on about gratitude, about being kind to people, about showing care for other people, because you're also doing it for yourself. Okay, you can't see in other people something you don't have in you. Okay, you can't give to other people something that you don't have to give. You have to learn to create it for yourself first, and then you can give it to other people and you can see it in them, which is much nicer. It's much better to walk around the world seeing kindness everywhere than seeing bitterness. It's much nicer to see positivity than to see negativity. So, when we're in this position when we're really infatuated with someone else, What's going on? What's going on? What we're doing is we are projecting all of the positives that we see, that we have in ourselves, onto them. We are seeing them in that way. This person, I'm seeing them as being so cool, so kind, so funny, so caring, so intelligent. Okay, so what's going on is you are projecting onto them something that you have. But in this imbalanced situation, notice how you're focused very, very much on someone. You're very infatuated on that person. Okay, you're very, very focused on them. You're obsessed. You're thinking about them all the time. So what's happening is that there's an imbalance. They have more than you have. They have a lot more of what you are having inside of you, or you are seeing them as having a lot more. You're projecting onto them that they have a lot more of what you actually want. Okay? Think about this. Think about this. So what that means is when you're infatuated with someone, what's going on is you are seeing in someone else something that you want for yourself. So that's very important to understand, that you're projecting on them. Because someone that you're infatuated with, you don't know them. You don't know them. Think about that. That's always the case. If you've ever been in that situation where you've been really infatuated with someone, and then you got to know them better, that infatuation went away, didn't it? Oops, just adjust the camera. And why is that? That's because you got to know them better. You got to know them better and you realize that they aren't all the things that you thought. Maybe they have those things, but they have a lot of other shit in there too that you didn't know about. Okay? There's a whole lot of others, there's a lot of things inside them as well that you didn't know about. Okay? That's what happens when you release infatuation. Okay? So now I've understood projection. Now we want to look for some self-awareness. Okay, so here's what I suggest. Get a notebook, get your journal. When you think about this person, open it up, okay, and write. I'm drawing a little book for you guys. Wow. Man, write down in it, what are the things that you are seeing in that person? So you can start with just a basic description. Oh, they do this, they do this, they do that. And then I want you to break that down into what are the needs. What are the human needs that these things are meeting? Okay? If you say, oh, they're really funny, they're always funny all the time. Someone was saying to me, oh, with this person that I'm infatuated with, they can annoy me, but then soon after that, we're all good again. Okay, so that's a description. That's a description here. This is what happens, this is what happens. But what about over here? This is like, that might be, you have to decide for yourself. That might be, there's a need for safety. That maybe they meet your need for safety. Because we can get annoyed with each other, but then it's always calm and we're happy again. Or it might be a need for fun and play. Because even though we get annoyed, we actually go back to being playful again. Okay, it might be a need to be seen. Maybe even though we get annoyed together, I get annoyed at that person, but then later we quickly were able to just get over that and be funny and be all good with each other again. Maybe it's because I'm being seen by that person. Okay, so think about it. There's this description of what's happening. Oh, what do I like about this person? Oh, they're so cool, they're so pretty, they're so interesting, they're so intelligent. But you've got to then break that down to what is it about that for me? What does that mean for me? And what I suggest you do is do that in the moment when you're feeling, write it down, this part, when you're feeling lonely, when you're feeling the attraction to them, when you're feeling it. But then come back later and break it down, analyze it when you're in a different mood and when you've had a bit of space away from that feeling, and think, what is it about that feeling? What is it about that description, the way they behave, the way they act? What is it about that makes me attracted to them? What is it that I want in them? Okay, so that's bringing some self-awareness to our projection. Okay, we've got a projection on this person. They're like this. You have all these feelings and motivations and beliefs that you're ascribing to them. They're a really cool person. They're driven. They're doing all these things. You know, they're handling life well. Whatever it is. Okay, but now we want to bring some self-awareness. What is it about me that I'm seeing in them. Okay? And now, third, we have to start developing some plans so we can take action. We've got to take action to develop those needs in ourselves. Okay, the things that we saw in that person, we need to get it for ourselves. We need to get it for ourselves. Infatuation passes one way or another. Either it wanes because that person is just not with you, or you end up with them and then it goes away because you get to know who they're really like, what they're really like, and you see them in a different light. But it goes one way or another. Okay? But this projection that we've created on them is not going to really go away because that's part of ourself. And the self-awareness is something we can develop out of the situation. And we need to do that by taking action. We need to figure out, like I said, what are these needs that I'm getting from this person and how can I get this for myself? Like I said, if it's a need for safety, how could I get safety? If it's a need for companionship, like I feel lonely and therefore I need to have companionship, how could I get that from my other people or primarily from myself in that case? You have to learn what is going to happen and take some sort of action to move towards it. And when you're doing that, when you're listening to yourself, getting some self-awareness and taking some action, what you'll find is the infatuation will decrease a lot. It will start to go away. Okay, because you'll start to see the truth. You'll be less projecting on them and more having more self-awareness of yourself and what really is that infatuation about from them. Okay, what is it really about? Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk to you about. You guessed it. It's rule number 1. A little better every day. A little better every day. That's how this is going to work. Focus on that. Focus on improving yourself a little bit today. Focus on getting a little bit of self-awareness, taking a little bit of action based on that. Okay? Just a step forward a little bit today. In a small way. If you're lonely, call a friend who can talk to you about this. If you need safety, think it through. How could you get more safe? Take a small action. If you notice that you're numbing yourself out, then like by distracting yourself, video games, whatever, computer games, phone games, Netflix, just internet use, pornography, drugs and alcohol, whatever. It could be almost anything. Other people, could be almost anything. Think about it. Why am I doing that? What am I actually really needing? It's the self-awareness. Take an action to try to alleviate that in a healthier way and just apply rule number 1. You don't need to just fix it overnight. That's not going to happen. Just improve it slightly. Just improve it a little bit and commit to doing that regularly. Okay, I hope you found this useful. If you've got any feedback or comments, you've got any questions, you think I'm right or wrong about any of this, please just drop it in the comments below. If you think that this would be useful to someone, just tag them or share this video to them and let them know about what I'm doing. Thank you very much for your time. Love you guys all. Have a great day. Peace.